We're back in the shop, and today's project is to put tie rod ends on our 2001 Polaris Sportsman 500. Here's the kit we bought. I just got it off eBay. Bought the cheap kit, and it kind of shows. It just seemed a little cheap. The hardware does, especially. Especially when you get a washer that's not even a full washer. One of these should be a left-handed thread. I've been looking for markings on them. I don't see anything. The only difference is this one's got like a saw mark or a cut mark in it here. And yeah, both packages were the same. They both have one with like a cut mark in it, or slice in it. So I'm guessing maybe that's the left-handed thread. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go. But we'll make sure we keep the different sides separate for that reason. Well, I guess the next thing to do would be to get this up in the air and get the wheels off. Well, we'll zip one of these wheels off first. Let's see if I can show the play on this tie rod end. Well, the first thing we need to do is remove the cotter pin or split pin. This one's in there pretty tight. Maybe we'll just cut it off and pull it through. We won't be reusing it anyways. Make it a little easier maybe. Still pretty tight. There we go. And we got the right size wrenches out. I'm a little surprised these are metric, but then again, maybe these have been changed already and they're an original. I've got a 15 on the top and a 17 on the bottom. That was good and tight. There we go. See if we got any washers. Already dropping our light. Here's a washer on top and one on the bottom. We'll keep track of our hardware. I think these we might have to reuse. They only came with 2 bolts, and obviously you need, one on either end. Yeah, this is pretty wore. Okay, now for the inside. On the inside, it's 14 mil, top and bottom. Wow, are they tight. Okay, got the nut off, and the bolt just fell right out with the wrench. Okay, slide that out. We'll take it over to the workbench. So we have the whole tie rod assembly in the vise just to hold it for us. There is a notch right here that you can hang on, put a wrench on and hang onto the shaft. But we'll just use that when we do the alignment. That makes it a little easier. But to get these off, what we'll do is we'll put a wrench on each one. 3/4 seems to fit the best. Put one on the jam nut and then one on the tie rod itself. And this side is the outside closest to the wheel, and it looks like it's the one with the left-handed thread. So we'll be removing this by, well, what would normally be tightening it to get it off. Just a little awkward to think backwards like that, but so what we've done is we wet it loose now, but we haven't really moved the jam nut, and we will leave the jam nut exactly where it is. The new kit didn't come with one. That will keep our rod length the same. We will check everything when we're done, of course, but this will get us really in the ballpark. So we'll grab the one with the little notch in it, see if that's the... This is so awkward to do it backwards. And that is the one. Yep, that's what we wanted. It's the left-handed thread one. Just hold the jam nut where it was. And tighten the jam nut up against it. And that's it. We'll do the same with the other end. And we'll be ready to reinstall this. We're not going to reef on this yet. We'll just keep the jam nut nice and snug because we're assuming we'll have to align the wheels at least a little bit. And we'll check that when we get everything back together. But if we do, we just loosen the jam nut off, put a wrench on here, and that will, because one's left-handed thread and one's right-handed thread, it will increase or decrease the distance between here and there, and giving us adjustment for our alignment. Oh, we've got it flipped around. Now, this is a regular thread. Off with the old. We want to make sure these are both oriented the same. And again, I'm just snugging up these jam nuts slightly. Once we get everything back in, we'll throw a tape measure on, make sure our alignment's good. Now, I'm just going to do the exact same to the other side, and I'll bring you back when we go to put these in. One other thing I almost forgot. I'm going to loosen these jam nuts off a little on all four here. Get a little PB blaster on them. Just in case we got to make some adjustment. I want the threads to be a little bit cleaned up here. Be able to move freely. Just in case we have to make some adjustments. Not anticipating having to adjust it very far, but hey, we don't know. So I'll run this nut back a little bit, clean up the threads. Way easier to do this on the bench than it is when it's on the wheeler. So there, that moves nice and freely. Okay, we'll do that to the rest of them as well. Like I said earlier, I'm not too impressed with the bolts that came in this kit. They look a little cheesy, a little cheap. So I'm going to just reuse the ones that are in there. So I'll take these over to the wire wheel, clean them up. Plus it only came with, one bolt per side, so I guess this is for the outside. Didn't come with the nut and bolt for the inside, but oh well, we don't need to use them. We'll just reuse the old ones. They both have lock nuts on them. This has got the nylock nut, and this is like the split nut. This is also has provisions for a split pin or cotter pin, so we'll get a new one of those set up too, and start putting it back together. Maybe we'll put a touch of Loctite on them just to be extra sure, since they are been used. So we're reusing the old bolts, like I said, and they were a touch rusty. So what we're going to do is we'll just take some of our grease here and put the grease just up on the shaft here where it goes through the tie rod. Keep it from getting rusty again. Keep it from sticking in there too. And what we'll also do is, because the hardware, the locking nut's not new anymore, we will put a little bit of Loctite on it. We're just going to go really light with this, because this is the it's not the light, it's high strength. We don't have any more of the medium strength left, it's gone. So we're going to go pretty light on that. Now, both sides on these did not have any washers, so we will use some of these new cheap ones. No reason not to. And again, we'll put just a drop of this Loctite on here. Just whoop! There we go again. Every video we knock the camera. Alright, let's get this side put back together. Okay, so the way we're going to install this is with the notch here toward the outside. So that will leave us with the left-handed thread, or the reverse thread, toward the outside as well. We'll have to remember that. I'm just going to slide that in. Get the bolt through. Okay. I need to find my 14 mil here. And we can get this tightened down. Alright, that's good and tight. Now for the outside, we're going to clean this up a little bit. We've got a brush on our wire brush on our drill here. We'll just knock the dirt off. That's good enough. So the way this went is we had the bolt with one washer on the top, one washer on the bottom, and then through there and the nut on with no washer on it. That's the way it came apart. And that was a 15 on the top and a 17 on the bottom, if I remember. Yep. Of course, I'm going to hit the camera. Alright, that's good and tight. The split pin. And that's it. We've got the side back together. We'll do the other side, put the tires on, and then we'll check our alignment. To do an alignment, I usually use a piece of angle iron that I had laying around in the garage, but I can't find it. Probably use it for a different project, so we'll have to improvise. But to start with, I just square up the handlebars, Make sure they're the same on both sides. And we're good there. So here's where I normally would use the angle iron. I would set it on these jack stands. The track on the ATV is wider in the back than it is in the front. So you just touch it on both parts, you know, the front and the back of the rear wheel. And then you measure at the back. We got just about 1/2 inch. And we've got about 1/2 inch on the front. So this is tracking square. So the alignment on this side of the bike is fine. Measuring the same as the front and the back. So we'll bring it over to the other side. Do the same. We're just using a piece of OSB with the factory rip on the one side as a straight edge. That's all we got today. Alright, we can see right away, or at least we hope we can on the camera, that this side's going to need some adjustment. We've got a little under 1/2 inch at the front and about 3/4 inch at the back. So the first thing we'll do then is loosen off those jam nuts. And we can spin that rod there and get it within spec. So the first thing we need to do is just loosen off these jam nuts. And we have to remember that this is the left-handed thread side. All right. It's going to be a little trickier to get this one up front. Remind me to tighten the jam nuts up on the other side before we're done here too. They're just hand tight. So we've got our 3/8 wrench. Give her a couple turns. Oh, of course I drop it. Well, we don't even need the wrench. We can just do this by hand anyways. All right. Give it just a quick turn or two. 3/8 on the front. Half inch on the back. A little more then. There we go. Back a little bit. There we go, but 3/8 either way. Alright, so we're happy with that. So all we have to do now is just tighten down the jam nuts. That was pretty simple. So let's get those jam nuts tight. Again, left-handed thread on the outside here. That's great. It's going to be a little harder to get onto up front here. I'm going to go around and do it from the other side. Well, all that's left now is to tighten up the jam nuts on this side. Again, remembering this is the left-hand thread. I know I keep saying that, but I have to keep reminding myself. Alright, I think that's it. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. There's many more videos on there. I'm working on this ATV that you might find useful. Thanks for watching.